What's happening, everybody? I am Jimmy. I'm your host, and I'm looking at changing the name, the Gym Boss Podcast. Marketing and sales, everything all marketing sales to help grow your gym. Anyway, so this title of this one here, that's a work in progress, that title, because we are gym specific, so I want to make it like that. This is the perfect gym sales framework to help you sign up more members. Even if you're a beginner or a seasoned veteran, this is the thing that will literally help you crank up and dial it in even more. Because there's just a basic, if we really zoom out and go 30,000 foot view, there's only 5 key things that you need to know and put them in the right order that can help you close more deals. Now, I'll give you a bit of backstory on this one. There's two sort of cases with this. One with there's a brand new client of mine just literally last week. I'll keep him nameless for this here, but he was getting very flustered. He was getting super flustered and very all caught up in his head. Pages of notes and like things that he had in front of him when he was having a prospect there. He was shuffling through all these pages and he was getting really lost, really confused, and he wasn't closing any deals. So we're getting him lots of leads, getting him lots of appointments. They were showing up to the gym, but then he couldn't close the deal. And that's because he didn't have the framework. He got lost and then he sort of got all flustered. So we had a session last week and we just really nailed it in. We're like, right, okay, I just want you to write down these 5 bullet points. And if you get stuck, you just have them on a little page next to you on your notebook or whatever. You can just refer to that and go, where am I in the flow? And then you go back to the point in the framework where you are so you can continue the flow to make it seamless. Now I'm going to break it down a little bit more for you because what we did is we did that, but I broke down little elements for him. And lo and behold, what was it? Monday this week. So today is Wednesday. Monday this week, had his first consultation after we did the training and refreshed it like this. Bam, closed his first deal. It's literally like that. So that you can literally get instant results with this. Same with another, on the flip side, Jim, they have 6 sales staff. We implemented this simple flow and they had something like, I'm trying to think, in the first week, they had something like 18 appointments and they closed like 12 of them using this framework. The rest just weren't good fits for the program, which was fine. And that's the name of the game in sales. So here's how it goes. I'm going to go from start to finish so you can actually see what's involved on each step and then how you can bring it back in, because it's hard. Like, what happens, I'll ask you a question, what happens when you're in a consultation and the conversation starts drifting off and you're like, oh, how do I get it back into the framework? I'll answer that one for you coming up very soon. And there's sort of like the 2 to 3 other major concepts you need to understand to bring this all together. But let's start at the start. Intro, over here. Simple. I don't really need to go into too much depth on that, but the intro is literally like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and that's where you're just meeting and greeting them. So, smiling, happy face. Bam. That's the first part. Meet them, greet them. Hey, welcome to the club. Welcome to the gym, the studio, the dojang, whatever it is. Come and take a seat. Come and sit over here. Nice to meet you. Shake their hand, whatever it is, right? Make them feel welcome. Part 2, info. Part 2 is probably like the meat. This is the meat, the core of where you need to spend majority of your time. So that here, info, is current, where they're at currently, right? And then into the future, where do they want to get to? So that's like asking, where are you at right now? Are you doing any training? Where's your health and fitness at? How do you feel about your body? How do you feel about your results? How, blah, 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 blah. All your current situation, you got kids and that, then projecting into the future. All right, good idea of where you're at right now. Where are you going to get to? Where do you want to be in the future? Like say 6, 12 months from now, if we're having this conversation, what would have to happen for you to ultimately be happy? And then they tell you about their goals and then how they feel about that. And then we've got part 3. So once you get that, then part 3 is you've got to establish the gap. So you've got to make them understand that where they are today and where they want to get to. Michael McRae is on. Good to see you, man. Where they are now and where they want to get to, there's a massive gap between the two. So we want them to get that contrast, right? So it's a gap here and here. So if you're on the podcast listening in, I'm just doodling up on the whiteboard here, but you don't need to see it to understand it. Just imagine there's a big gap. What your job is to ask them a question, you say, and the gap is simply just one question. So once you've got the meat, so I'm going back to info here. Info, you want to dig in and find out the root cause of their pain, of where they're at right now. They might have psychological pain, emotional pain. Everyone has when I say pain, they have a driver, something that's in them that's making them want to make a change. Or otherwise they wouldn't have gotten in their car and drove down to see you and taken all the time out of their day to actually come and visit you at your gym. So you got to find out what is the thing that's pushing their buttons to make them actually want to do that. Because if you don't understand that, you cannot progress through the call. You cannot progress through the consultation until you find it. That's why I call that the meat. You need to sit there and ask them, where are they at right now? And then you ask simple questions like, how does that make you feel? Why is that important to you? Tell me more. How does that make you feel? Blah, 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 blah. And keep asking why? How does it make you feel? And then you'll get to the reason why. And then once you have the reason why, you go, great. Move on to the gap. The gap is part 3. So you say, look, I've got a really good, clear idea of where you're at right now, which is, and then this is a technique called active listening. So you repeat back what they said. So you've taken notes and you say, hey, I've got a really good idea of where you're at, Mary. You're 20 kilos overweight, 40 pounds overweight. You've got a 10-year wedding anniversary coming up and you're going to be on the beach and you want to be, you want to get back into your swimsuit that you did 10 years ago. And at the moment you're feeling you're just not feeling yourself and you're not feeling confident to be able to do that. Is that right? She goes, yeah. And so she agrees with you. And then you say, cool. And I've got a really good idea of where you want to get to. You want to be back down to that, that 10-year version of yourself, or the 20-year-old version of yourself, or whatever it was, where you're carefree, you can go down the beach, swimming, whatever, and you're feeling fantastic because you've dropped the 20 kilos. So and that's where you want to get to, right? And she says, yeah. And you go, okay. So as you can see, our job now here is what we're trying to do is we're trying to push them as far apart, away from each other, so they understand that it's going to take some effort to get there. So you go, as you can see, there is a massive gap from where you are today to where you want to get to, yeah? And then she agrees with you. She says, yeah, or he, whoever you're talking to, and they say, yeah. Then you go, right, so what have you got to do, or what have you got to learn to close the gap so they can stop becoming a dream, it can actually become a reality? Then they're going to rattle off all the stuff that you do. Like there's going to be 3 major things. I need diet, I need training, and I need accountability or motivation or some variations of that. So they're going to tell you that. Then you go, great, this is how you progress into telling them about the program. Okay, so now this is part 4 of the framework, the program. So the program is basically where you say, awesome, you tell them like the statement of like, hey, we don't train powerlifters or bodybuilders here, no Instagram girls here or whatever. We're just mums just like yourself that just want to get lean, fit and strong and just, be able to enjoy a couple of wines on the weekend and still lose the weight in the process and have a supportive network around them. Does that sound like something that you've been looking for? She says, yeah. Because now you've just sort of given them the blurb or about the programs without getting into too much detail. Then you go, sweet, this is what's in the program. And you start just telling like 3 sort of key things that are in the program that they're going to get. You can do a little bit more, but it's up to you, like how many things you want to put in there. I'd say 3 is the sweet spot. Then the part after that is the close. So you present them 2 options. 2 options to come and train with you. And then you say, which one would you like to do? This is how the program works. You got 2 options to do it. Which one would you like? This one or this one? And then she says, I'll take that one. And then you go, here's the paperwork, sign up, close the deal, done. Close the damn deal. You don't need to sell anymore there. Grant Cardone, Big Uncle G, just says, close the damn deal, man. Love that guy. He's funny. But he has some good points. So close the deal. Now, question here. This is the thing that I said earlier in the call. This was the question that my client had, the younger one, where he wasn't sure about how to bring it back in. He wasn't sure about how to bring it back in if they start drifting off. Like, what if he's at the info stage and they start telling him about his dog, about their dog, or about, a movie that they watched on the weekend or something like that, because they're just in that info stage, asking questions, blah, 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 blah. Because how do I bring it back in? And I was like, simple. You simply just ask them a question. Everything that you can do to get back to the framework is by asking a question. I'm going to write this. You hook them back. So if you're in the info stage and they start drifting off, ask a question, and bam, brings them back in to the topic you're talking about. And they go, oh, so how do you bridge that? Simple. You say, hey, that's awesome. I've seen that movie as well. Hey, but before we talk more about that, tell me more, like, what was it about your goals again that you wanted to get? Boom, you've asked a question. You park the other thing and you're bringing them back in. And that is the key thing to bring it back in on all of these here. If they start drifting, and you think about it on every step, I'm starting to get past 10 minutes here, so I want to wrap this up for you guys. But let's go like this. Intro, info, establish the gap, tell them about the program, and then close the deal. That's your 5 steps. Now, what are 2 overarching things that you can do within this to really make it a solid process is there's 2 major things. Is number 1 is to always ask questions. Yeah? And number 2, active listening. Active listen. Those are the 2 key things. So if you follow the 5-step framework, if you get lost and it starts to deviate, that's okay. The framework will be the thing that guides the conversation. So you simply just ask a question to bring it back in, because that's how you guide a conversation, by asking questions. Because the person that's asking the questions is in control. And that's what you need to be. You need to be in there, being able to guide the conversation. And then active listen. Repeat back what they said to them and ask them, is that right? Yeah, cool. And that's how and then how do you progress from one part of the framework to the next? Same deal. Ask a question. Ask a question that relates to the next part of the framework, and you are done. That is Jimmy. I'm going to mic drop that one because I think that one was like, that is literally multiple 6-figure gym right there. You can close high ticket deals with that, low ticket deals, any sort of deals you want. It's the same framework. And you can close deals like this within 20, 30 minutes of $1,000, $2,000, $2,000 range. Easily like this. Anyways, if you have got enough enjoyment out of that as much as I did, or enough value out of as much as I enjoyed making it for you, and you know somebody that's going to get some value from this and that would enjoy seeing this or needs to hear it, please share it with them. So if you're on the podcast, screenshot this right now and just send it to them. Tell them, hey, look, you got to check this one out, and tag me as well. At the Jimmy Halley on Instagram or on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook here, just share it. Tag them in there. Let them know about it. And this is me done. Love you all. Peace.